Yes, which was pretty awesome. Some of them were
Off the top of my head, compared.
You are now listening to the Voices of Dubai.
You're listening
Watching The Voices of Dubai with Joe Hage.
This is the Voices of Dubai.
Joe, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure is mine, Joe. So Joe meets Joe.
Indeed. Voice Guy Joe meets another Voice Guy Joe.
Absolutely.
I remember when we first met virtually, it was in 2018.
Yeah.
I was working as a creative audio producer at Mango Jam Studios.
Yes.
And we both happened to be two of the four voices that were
Yes.
recording for Etisalat Smiles,
That is right.
an online video for Etisalat Smiles.
True.
I had one line to record.
Even I did I had one line, and we didn't meet that day in person as such. I think we just passed, our paths. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my line was something like, "Here are your tickets, ma'am." Or
Yes.
something
Here are
like
your
that.
tickets, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think you were doing the voice for one of the quite popular models and actor here in the region now. His name is Roman Khan.
Okay.
So I think you were doing his lines.
Oh.
And I was doing, here's your pizza, ma'am, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't remember the lines exactly, but it was fun. It was
Yeah.
one of the firsts that I've done after I came to Dubai.
Okay.
Of course, I've done plenty before, as you know, but then in Dubai, it was one of the firsts. Yeah, so
Awesome.
it's always going to be on my mind.
Yeah, awesome. And actually, the announcer
Yes.
for that ad was the one and only Digby Taylor.
Oh, Digby.
Yeah,
yes.
shout out to Digby Taylor.
I didn't know about that.
Really?
I had no idea. Because we all recorded our lines separately, right? It
True.
just came in, recorded, and left. So at the end, what happens, we don't know.
Yeah.
And most of us don't even go back to it to actually watch or hear the produced version of the video.
Which is quite unfortunate when you think
Very
about
unfortunate,
it, right?
yeah.
We come in for certain sessions,
Yeah.
and what we end up hearing is only our dry voice.
Yes.
We don't really see the ad, the fully
output.
produced ad.
True.
With
true.
music blended in, sound effects, multiple voices, and
True.
everything mixed together as an ecosystem.
Yeah, and in fact, it happened recently. I did an ad for Pizza Hut, and it was a voiceover that I did, and we did a pretty interesting, variation to it. It was something different. I was doing the voice of the commentator, the cricket commentary, and then I was also the announcer.
Okay.
So we had to do that voice change,
Different tone, yeah.
the tone, and the whole game mode on thing. But when the ad got released, the two of the three people, actually all the three of them, Casey, and then there was DG, and then there was a good friend of mine, Amit Mehra. All three of them I know.
Wow.
And I've met all of them, at least two of them, yeah. Casey I haven't met. So, and when it came on the social media and the ad was popping, I was like, wow, this ad looks good. Then I just opened the sound. I was like, hey, this is my voice.
Yeah.
So even now it happens in spite of social media being so, out there. But luckily, I was tagged on that ad.
Yeah.
So when I opened the tag and I saw, I was like, oh wow, I was tagged because it was my voice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thanks to the person who tagged me, it was Shane who directed it.
Nice.
I think with the communication channels opening up, social media becoming more and more popular, and in fact, it's an integral part of our life now. I think the voiceover actors, voiceover artists, talents, we also have a face now which people can relate to.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. And it's one of my my goals, if you want,
Yes.
with the podcast, the Voices of
Yes.
Dubai. It's to really put a face to the voices.
Absolutely.
You know?
And it's an amazing initiative that you've taken. I
Thank
feel
you.
so proud to be here because when I look back 20 years, there was nothing even close to this in our space of work. And voiceovers is something which I started my career with, my media career. And, it's always going to be close to my heart. I'm always going to be a voiceover actor, voiceover talent till the day, I say goodbye to the world. But then I would do different things and I would definitely reach my ultimate goal, which is actually to become an actor, a full-time actor who gets to do multiple roles and different kind of characters. But to reach there, there's a journey that I've taken, which life has led me to different paths. And voiceovers has been the first thing, and I fell in love with it. And I was like, wow, I love this. I want to do this.
That's awesome. Yeah, Joe, you're a voiceover actor, an anchor, an MC, an actor, and the founder of JK7 Media.
That's right. Yeah.
When did you first start your voiceover career?
Wow. Yeah. So professionally, I would say it was in the when I was about 19 or 20, maybe. But yeah, I used to do it for fun at home. You know, I had this huge CRT monitor, the old style, and when I was in school, at church, you know, the different kinds of places where I was always with my friends and stuff, and they used to put me up to things. You know, can you say this? Can you do that? I love singing, so I also wanted to be, you know, trained in formal singing in India. But then, so at that time, I realized that I have this knack of saying things in a certain way, which at that time I didn't really know the impact of what that could, you know, have on in a professional way. But then I just was attracted to it. When I used to hear the radio, I was attracted to it. So from the age of 15, 16, I used to do these kind of things where I'm reading something, I'm reading the newspaper. My dad was very particular. He ensured that I read out loud the newspaper every day.
Really?
Oh yeah, and I used to love reading out the text from the book in my classes. So English was my favorite subject. English and Hindi. Hindi is the, you know, the normal national language, I would say, the language all across India. So yeah, when we were doing that, I used to find myself quite entertained with the way I was reading it or feeling how I'm reading. That led to this. I was about 19 when I finally got to do it professionally, and that was quite a journey, because that struggle, which got me the first commercial voiceover, that felt as if I've just climbed the tallest mountain in the world.
Wow. Could you tell us a little bit about your path towards reaching that first moment for you?
The path, to be honest, was not even paved. I didn't know. I was totally blank as to how to approach this and how to go for, you know, how to become, you know, a voiceover actor. I did not even know that it's called voiceover acting or voiceover talent as a profession. All I knew was, oh, somebody is saying something on the radio, or the ad voice. That is how I used to say. Or it's a presenter, an RJ, a radio jockey. Which I thought, okay, maybe that's something which I could do. But friends of mine, you know, they often told me that, hey, yeah, you've got a good voice, you talk so well, why don't you just go to the radio? I was like, okay, sounds good. I was very naive, you know, so I used to be like, oh, wow, yeah. So anything that could maybe push me a bit towards the path of media, towards the path of radio, TV, movies, serials, as we call it in India, that time we used to call it serials, which they were coming in as episodes and episodes. Yeah. So I was anything that pushes me towards that I could be a part of that world, I would be like, wow, yes, let's do it. But I had no clue how to go about it. And I am from Delhi. I'm a Keralite, born in Kerala, but raised in Delhi, the capital. And Mumbai, which is the Bollywood, as people call it, but I would prefer to call Mumbai the Hindi film industry or Indian film industry. So that is far. And if someone has to really become a full-time commercial actor or something, you need to relocate to the place where the whole system is.
Sure.
And I couldn't, because my parents wouldn't allow me to. And they were like, you need to focus, get a job. So the path hence became totally unplanned, because I didn't know how. I knew where to reach, but I did not know how to.
Yeah.
So that's when I started struggling like a small baby in the pool. So, fortunately, a few of my friends advised me, they told me, oh, you know what, you need to maybe find studios. I did go to radio stations at that time just to check out as in if I could, be a presenter. But nobody let me in, nobody really gave me any guidance there, because A, I was too young. Two, I was not even an undergraduate degree holder. Three, there weren't any opportunities as such. They were not doing any auditions or anything. Okay. I mean, they were, and probably they would be looking for people who have some sort of a prior experience. So for me, it was like a no-go. Okay, fine. You know what? Radio, I don't want to go there then. So then I moved, okay, something else then. So people told me, someone said, hey, you could go to studios. You could record some of these, comic voiceovers and stuff. So that is how it sort of started making some shape, in my mind that, okay, maybe this is the way. And then when I was still young, one of the persons, I think from a church gathering or someone, he told me that, we need to record some voice. And I went to this studio, and I was pretty young to even understand what's happening. He just said, okay, come, just, read these lines. It's just for one of the audio dramas, he said. I said, oh, wow. And I was apparently the voice of the angel or something. So,
Okay.
where, in Hindi, there is a certain line where, the storyline, I don't know if people would relate to this, but the story is where Mary, the mother of Jesus, when she was carrying the child, when she was about to, and then the angel appears, and the angel says that, don't be afraid. So that was the line. So it's like, Mariam, bhaibhit na ho. So I was like, as in Mariam, don't be afraid.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh, I need to. So that is how I started doing that. I was like, and I was quite young to have that voice. So they were pretty impressed. So that experience gave me that confidence that maybe I can do this. Maybe I could, learn more. I wanted to learn more, but there wasn't any avenue to. I'm talking about early 2000s. Okay. So there wasn't much info available. That is how it started. That is how the path sort of started. While my father, my mom and dad, they wanted me to do a proper job, which gives me salary. And they said, either you study or you work or you do both. Whatever you do, you are not going into the media and all this, all this entertainment thing you talk about, all the nonsense. And this is not going to be
a breadwinner.
This can't be a breadwinner for you. This is not a career. What are you talking about? My dad comes from the military background.
Okay.
So his world is different. He would want me to also be in the forces, in the armed forces, which just to try it out. I did try. I was while in the school, there's an option where you get trained in something called National Cadet Corps. Okay. So you train to become a soldier or an officer. Okay. So I've done that, but then I was not able to get there because I couldn't clear the written exams on certain, like mathematics was not my strong suit. So that's what happened, and then I was like, it was quite disappointed.
So you had that pressure from your family.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
What are you thinking about? Like you can't go into just like radio and media. Like you got to get a proper job, a stable job, take care of your career, etc., etc. I can actually relate to that.
Yeah, that's what. So I think our generation, the understanding of job or income was a little different. The definition was a little different, and they come from that mindset that if your salary is not coming to your bank account every month, that means something is wrong. The concept of being a self-employed artist or being an entrepreneur, maybe it was too far stretched for them. And in my entire family, in my dad's side and my mom's side too, people were mostly either someone was into the armed forces, like my father, or someone is an engineer, or someone is
a lawyer or a doctor.
Into such professions.
Sure.
Or if they're doing a business, they're into restaurants. They have their own steady business, which is the father started there, and then the sons. But nobody in the media, and for them it was like, it's like the unknown devil,
the outcast.
Yeah, the outcast. Who are these people?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it took a lot of courage, a lot of hard work, a lot of fights, convincing, crying,
Dedication.
Oh my God! When I think about those days when I started, when I had zero, it was like literally that I don't have any ground to stand on, But I wanted, if I was just literally hanging on a small string of hope. If I would have left that, I would have boom gone down. But holding on to that hope, making sure that I keep trying to create the path. Since there is nobody to show the way, you have to create it. So when you're going through a place and there's a mountain, you break the mountain. You go through it. I get emotional when I talk about that because that took years for me to do, and cut to today where I happen to be voicing top brands, brands that people relate with. When I say, okay, you get to hear my voice in Vox Cinemas, you hear my voice in E-Car or Etisalat or Adnoc or Etihad or such things, where you hear me there, you hear me. When people tell, hey, I heard you there, I saw you there, it feels good. And I never wanted to be famous. I wanted to be an artist who gets to, be an artist on the screen, people, I get to, storytelling is, in other words.
Yeah.
I used to love stories. I used to love watching animations and stories and comic books. And I always found myself as a part of that. So if I'm reading Superman, I am Superman. If I'm watching Spider-Man, I am Spider-Man. Jungle Book, I am the Mowgli.
Yeah.
So I am the character.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would be the antagonist, not always the protagonist. But then that I like the villain, or I am the villain. But then I did not know what to call it. And so today I'm happy that somehow that path got created in some way. Maybe it was a bit late, but I'm content that somewhere it is still there, and I'm young at heart.
Yeah.
And I'm always gonna be.
Yeah, and I mean, I can tell today, like you said, you've recorded for some of the biggest brands across the globe and in the U.A.E.
Yeah.
And like the way I see you today, posting content regularly on your social platforms, and to me, looking from the outside, like I see it, man. You're very successful, and you had the discipline, the consistency, and you put in all the work to carve that path in the mountain, like you were talking about.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember your first ever paid voiceover job?
Well, to be honest with you, yeah, the first paid voiceover that I did was just one line. And this was, I think, I don't even remember the year now, but I got paid 3,000 rupees, which was big, huh? I'm telling you, because I'm talking about early 2000s, right? So 99, 2000. 3,000 rupees is equivalent to, say, 150 dirhams.
Dirhams, yeah.
At that time, that was big, because I was doing a job on the side, and I used to make about 6,500 rupees a month.
Wow, so you did half your salary in one session for one line.
Exactly. And with incentives, let's say my salary was 9,000, so I made about 1/3 of my total income of a month by doing one line.
That's awesome. Do you remember the line?
Oh yeah. So I remember the line. So it was something like, the scene is in India when people get married in the Hindu tradition, there is something that we call the feras. So feras is like when you take the circle, the bride and the groom, they hold hands. They're going around the circle. There's a fire, and they're praying to it. So each circle, they're supposed to take 7 circles. So we call it Saat Phere.
Okay.
And then, so when it's 7, each circle is a promise that they're making to each other. It's like a vow.
Okay.
Right? So my line was, Pandit ji, 7 phere to ho gaya, ab 8वें phere ka kya? Which means, I'm talking to the priest, the Pandit ji, that 7 vows are done. What about the 8th one?
Wow.
So that is the question. And the 8th one is basically about protection, about all of that thing. So this was being done for an awareness campaign. And that's all I did. I did a couple of variations of that, Pandit ji, 7 phere to ho gaya, ab 8वें phere ka kya? And then another variation was, Pandit ji, 7 phere to ho gaya, ab 8वें phere ka kya? Yeah? Something of that sort. I did some variations on my own when the guy said, okay, try in a different way. Try this, try that. I kept doing it. I don't know which one they used. I never got to hear the final output, as you said. But he told me to, thank you, Joe, just wait outside. I waited for about 45 minutes. And believe me, we had not even discussed about money here. He called me and he said, Joe, yeah. Okay, can you come for this? I said, okay, cool, I'll come. I never bothered about money.
Yeah.
I never even asked him that. And then I went there, I finished the ad, I still didn't know what I'm getting paid, even if I'm getting paid. So then he came outside and he gave me an envelope that had 3,000 rupees. I was like, oh, okay, what is this for? Yeah, no, this is the fee for the ad. I was, really? Wow, that is amazing. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I didn't expect that. I mean, I almost had tears when I said that because that was my first income from the work that I was happy and passionate about. I was quite good at doing other job. My other job on the side was I started as a door-to-door salesperson. So selling, door-to-door selling was my job. I was very good at it. I mean, I won't say I was passionate about it. I was very good at it. I made good incentives out of it. And I was very dedicated and very, honest about my job. But my passion was somewhere else. So that's where it happened. That was the first line. I tend to give you a little bit of info around the response to your question, because if it's just a simple one-line answer, it won't have the meaning to it.
Of course.
So I have to give you the whole setup. That's when you can visualize the whole story.
Absolutely.
And see where I'm coming from.
And I appreciate that because I really want our listeners and viewers to really know what it takes behind the scenes. Since nobody sees us, people hear us. They hear our voices, and they hear the fully produced ad.
Yes.
I want to show what it takes for everyone to become voice actors, to become professional voiceover artists.
True.
And what I find super interesting is people like yourself sharing your stories, sharing your challenges, and just giving away information for people who are interested in starting a career in this industry, or just simply interested in learning about other people's experiences in life.
True.
So I really appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. Like I said, sharing is caring. I believe in that. And when you have a certain experience, a certain knowledge, certain information, and if you share it for the good of others, I believe I feel better when I'm sharing it. At the same time, I learn more and I feel more accomplished. You see, so when someone else, if they want to pursue that path, if that information can, because the lack of that information did make my journey difficult, and it cost me time, cost me lots of struggle, which could have been maybe a little shorter if I had the right guidance and the right information. Simple. I won't say it would have avoided certain failures, because in my opinion, those little tiny failures here and there are very important for me to give me a slap in the back and hey, stay on path, and this is what you need. So those failures were okay, but the lack of information did cost me time, and time is of essence.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And
it's important to share.
Speaking of failures, I had the talk with Ron Bagnulo.
Oh,
the
wow,
one
Ron.
and only. Yes, and he shared an amazing piece of wisdom on failure, and we'll make sure to link this up as well.
Yes. Oh,
But
he's
basically,
amazing, yeah.
and I'm paraphrasing here, that basically, if you treat failure and success as the same thing, then you've understood life. Because failure is a part of success.
Absolutely.
You have to fail so many times until you reach what is success to you, right?
True.
Only with failures can you learn what you did wrong, what you can improve, what additional knowledge you need to invest in to be able to have that information and become the person you want to be that reaches success.
100%. Absolutely. Without failures, I don't think success would exist. And even for those people who, when in certain times people would say, okay, he had it easy, or maybe, oh, this guy had all the opportunity around him. Even they reach the ultimate success, which makes them content and happy, after failing in smaller, probably in different ways, but smaller ways. Even they fail. So failure is a part of success. That's what gives meaning to success. The way the absence of night would make day meaningless. So there has to be a night, there has to be a day to complement each other. So that is how I look at it. Yeah.
Absolutely. To go back to another thing that you were saying, when when you have that knowledge,
Yeah.
and I was
Sorry.
talking about that to Rudy Sibai.
Yes, Rudy Sibai, another beautiful voice. Okay.
Absolutely,
I've
absolutely.
worked with all these people and feel so good that you mentioned that they've come to the show.
Of course. And it's interesting because I've had this long chat with Rudy, and that was like just to catch up, if you
Yes.
will.
Yeah.
And he was saying that once you have all that knowledge, all that experience, you have a certain responsibility
Yes.
to share that knowledge with
True.
future generations, with people who are interested in learning about the industry. And like you said, it makes you feel better about yourself as well.
Yeah.
Giving,
Yeah.
the art of giving is
Very
very
important.
rewarding.
Helps you be more positive. It helps you feel a bit more relaxed in the mind and heart, and feels accomplished because you're giving something. It gives you happiness. It gives you peace. So, and if you just hold it all within yourself, I mean, it makes you a miser. You don't want to share anything. I mean, I don't think that gives you peace or happiness. Yeah, so sharing is happiness.
Can you tell us about a challenging recording session that you've encountered?
Well, yeah, actually, when I say challenging, it would be something where I wasn't able to maybe get it right. Otherwise, I won't say it's challenging. It's interesting and it's very, it's very diverse. It's fun. Challenging happened recently.
Okay.
When a good friend of ours, I'm sure you would know the person when I mentioned the name. Well, he had a recording. So this was for a very, very popular car brand. And he called me. He had mentioned briefly that this is the kind of voice that I need. And he mentioned something about the accent. And honestly, I didn't really bother much about it because the way I speak English, I don't know what it's called if there's a specific word to it, but in general, we refer to it as neutral accent.
Neutral accent.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
but the native speakers would probably disagree. But then the thing is, this is the easier way to explain in the accent, because I don't have the mother tongue influence. We call it an MTI. I don't have my mother tongue, which is Malayalam or Hindi, influencing my English. It's quite clean. At the same time, it is not an American accent. It is not a UK accent or a Canadian or an Australian accent for that matter. And I can't, because I've never lived in those countries. I've never been, in that sort of environment to have that accent. So my English is just the normal English, the way it comes in my mind. I just speak that English. But I ensure I've made an effort from my childhood, not even way before even understanding why language should be clean or the accent should be absolutely clean or neutral. When I was reading the newspapers, like I mentioned earlier, when I, at home, when I was reading in my classrooms, I was told by my teachers that, hey, the pronunciation is this. Even if they speak at a length, you can figure out, okay, oh, he's from India. Or he's from this part of India, even that specific. But when I talked or when I speak, people can't figure that I'm actually from India. Or is he from India? Or is he from somewhere else? You can't. So to me, that became the way of, talking. So, but the requirement for this project was American English.
American English, okay.
Now, the funny thing is, it wasn't American English. It was more towards native English. This I came to know about when I already reached the studio.
I see.
So I went to the studio.
Okay.
I started reading a few lines, and the client who was listening to it from the recording booth, and they were not very happy about it. They're like, no, this sounds different. Can you just redo this? I was like, okay, I'll try it again. I did it. And then 2-3 times I did, and they were like, it's not happening. And I was like, okay, wow, did I just do something wrong? And then they called my friend, and then he was the producer of it. He came and I said, Joe, actually they need American English. Funnily, I told him, but I can't speak American English.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I told you that it's American English. I said, I'm sorry if because maybe I didn't hear it, or maybe I misheard it, or whatever. I was like, okay, what do we do? But the sample which I sent you was approved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was sounding different. I said, this is what happens when we record in a certain flow. We may enhance it a little bit here and there. We give it a certain touch to it, So when we talk in a studio for an ad, but this was more of acting. So, and I will not do what I'm not capable of doing, and I would not make a fool of myself.
Sure.
I'm really sorry, bro. I didn't mean to, He was like, no, it's okay. I'm sorry too. Can you help me with another voice? So right there, I made a few calls and I spoke to other friends of mine, and they were available. So the friend who did it, his voice was approved. Now his mom is British.
Okay.
Again, there's no connection with the U.S. But he spoke in a certain way which sounded very native English, not American as such. It was sort of British, but the client was okay with it. So the point I'm saying this is because sometimes we as actors don't know how to do a certain thing. If we knew it earlier, probably we would not waste their time.
Sure. Sure.
I would back out. I would say, okay, I'm sorry, I can't fit into this. I think I'm not the right cast for this. It's the same like a cast, right?
Sure.
Casting, voice casting is also similar to that.
Sure.
I didn't know about it, so I ended up wasting their time, the client's time, and I said, I'm really, really, really sorry. I apologize. This has never happened in my 15 to 20 years of experience, but I'm going to fix this for you. So they were very happy about the voice that happened after that, and the female voice was also a friend of ours, a friend of mine, and again, an Indian by origin, but raised in Canada.
Okay.
So she had this North American accent. So yeah, it was good. So that was a very challenging project for me mentally, but for at least those many days. Yeah.
I really want to acknowledge you for that reaction, because you mentioned something. The client did approve one of your samples and chose you based on that sample.
Yes, they did.
And then through the recording session, they were like, no, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I really want to acknowledge you, Joe, because not only did you take it upon yourself, like, apologies, I can't fit into the requirements, but you also found someone to help in and pitch in with the project and help turn this project around.
Absolutely. And it was also my responsibility to do that because, honestly, the voices that my voice and the other person's voice were being given to the agency, to the studio, through my company, JK7 Media. So it is my professional responsibility to create a solution for the situation. And I know maybe there would be some people who would say, no, you've booked me, you've called me. And by the way, this friend of ours, the producer, he paid me for my time. He paid me half the fees. And I really, salute that because some people don't want to do that. And I didn't ask for it, but he himself said, no, Joe, you came, you gave your time, you deserve to get paid for it. At least half of it is what I would give you.
That's awesome.
And that professionalism, that piece of heart of you in that takes you a long way.
Absolutely.
And imagine if I would not have been able to give a voice to him as well. Even then, he would appreciate the response that came from my heart, that it was my mistake. I couldn't do it. Maybe it was a collective miss, maybe he also missed on something other. So yeah, I think we need to be honest and passionate, and that's what we do when we love something. So I love what I do. So I don't want it to fall and break.
Sure.
I want to catch it.
Sure.
So yeah, the equation became better. The relationship became better with him. So yeah, this is what happens. I don't know if you know him. His name is Hussein Shubi.
No, I haven't.
He's a very, very talented, very popular producer. And in fact, I've done an ad with him previously for Rainbow Milk.
Okay.
And that's where I met him. He was an amazing guy, and he's got a studio and the whole crew, amazing people. So yeah, but if that situation wouldn't have, happened, maybe I wouldn't have understood how how to tackle similar, cases in
To
the in the future.
troubleshoot and find solutions.
Yeah, because everybody is on point. The client is there, agency is there, producer is there, artist is there, and boom, we don't have a voice now. What do we do? It's a crazy mad situation. So,
Sure.
But thanks to God, then we could save it, save the moment. Yeah.
Good. You're a voiceover, an anchor, and MC. You have your own company, JK7 Media, and you're an actor. For our viewers and listeners, how do you effectively manage your time in a way to be productive in all these different areas in your life?
Well, that's a very interesting question because I would say I'm not great at time management. And I'm not ashamed of saying it. I try to be on time on whatever it is, but when it comes to managing time, it's more about managing yourself. That's where I think the solution lies. So what I do is, I first of all sort of gained a bit of clarity on what is the kind of work that I want to do. I got the clarity now in my life after almost more than a decade of being in this industry that just because you are good at something, you don't need to do all those things. Do what makes you really happy, makes you like really crazy happy. It gives you that, the instant rush of dopamines and the serotonins and the, the happy chemicals. But you don't have to do everything that you're good at. So that learning has happened. Hence, I'm able to segregate my work. So even in the business, in JK7 Services, JK7 Media, we had a few other things which we thought we could do as a part of the business because maybe there was an association with somebody and we could do it. Maybe I saw, okay, maybe there's a good earning potential there. But since I was not finding happiness in those things, we dropped it. Now we have only 3 things. One, which is voiceovers as a voiceover agency and a network of voice talents all around the world. It gives me immense pleasure when I am able to give either my voice, that's one part of it, but I'm able to give voices in Arabic, voices in English, in Spanish, in German, in Italian, in Tagalog, in Sinhalese, in Malayalam, in Hindi, in Tamil, in different languages, in Urdu, for various projects. So I am being a part of those little projects, even though it's not my voice, but it's somebody else's voice, and I've been a part of that recording or the process or the whole thing. I'm not just a broker, you see, who gives a voice, okay, take the voice and go. So I am a part of that.
Sure.
So I am doing the duty of being the creative producer, partly, for that part, and being able to guide the artist as well, how to do the recording in some cases. And in some cases, I'm dealing with the biggies of the voice industry in the country, where they are so experienced, I don't need to say anything to them. There, I'm learning. There, I'm quiet. Okay, you know what? Your session, Peter, just go on. Thank you. And I'm listening and I'm enjoying it. So,
you said Peter?
Yes.
Peter Crawford?
Yeah, Peter Crawford.
Another legend?
Oh my goodness, he's an amazing voice.
Yeah, another legend.
I am blessed to have worked with all these amazing people, Peter, Ron, Rudy recently, and while Habal, I have not worked with him, but he's another beautiful voice I love. So, all these people, you learn so much from them.
Absolutely.
That's one part of it, which is the voice-related business. The other part is the events-related work, where I also anchor shows, I host and present shows. So all of that goes through that division. And at times when I'm not available or when there's a specific requirement for somebody else, I fit those people there for that requirement. I source the artist for that. Not really sourcing the artist, but since they are there in my network, I just plug them in.
Sure.
But apart from that, I've got a small team which also does small, tiny bits of things for the event support. I'm providing certain things here and there. Not really event management as such, but event support services is what I would call it.
Sure.
And then the other area is the acting part of it, which is my struggle into the world of acting, where I'm learning on one side and I'm doing, I'm acting in commercials, advertisements. It's on camera, so that's another, happiness quotient for me. And then I've done a web series. I've done a few short films, and now the web series that I'm a part of. The season 1 is out. The episode 1 is already out in Stars Play. It's happening right now. So it's a horror thriller. So that happens in that segment. So these are the 3 areas I'm in, and my focus is to be happy, right? So either I'm doing this or this or this, or I'm doing all the 3. I would also have one more thing which is added to that, where it brings the balance, which is to chill.
To chill, huh?
Yes, it's so important. You won't believe. The priority in my life is actually not to do all of these. This is definitely who I am. This is my identity. So if I'm voice guy Joe, that's because I am a voiceover talent. If I am MC Joe Mohan, that's because I'm this. If I'm an actor Joe Mohan, that's because I am this. I am wearing these 3 hats. It's part of me.
Sure.
But what do I want to do in my life? Chill.
Chill, yeah.
So me and my wife, we always have this thing on our agenda that our priority, no matter what we're doing, we're not living to earn, we're living to chill, enjoy life,
I like
travel. Yeah, we've got a dog. Spend time. Spend time with 3 of us. And the more I spend, I'm not, people would be, would laugh at this. The more I spend time with them, the more I feel happier. And it isn't enough for me. And so I want to just chill with them. Maybe watch something. We love watching content on like web series and movies and stuff like that. Or just sit and chill, play some games or whatever. But then, yeah, that's what I want to do. To make that time happen, I need to do what I love doing so that I get the income for that, and then boom, spend it. I'm not a person who would just really bother much about tomorrow, and I'm not running after money. So I'm like happy with what I'm earning. And alhamdulillah, what I'm earning is quite decent enough for me to live a standard life in this country. So there it is.
That's awesome.
This is how I manage my stuff.
That's awesome. And did you find that, or in what ways does your career as a professional voiceover actor affect your acting career and your anchoring / MC / presenter career?
Well, I would say there is an impact, definitely, of more than an impact. There is a connection. There's an underlying thread which connects all these 3 things that I'm into. And the thread is that all of this is basically an art, number 1. And number 2, I would say it's all connected and leading towards the profession called acting. So acting is being able to portray a role or a character, which in reality, probably you're not. Maybe you are, but you're not. In most of the cases. So many people don't know about this, about me. Even certain friends of mine, they don't know that Joe Mohan is a person who's an introvert, extrovert sort of a character. I'm an introvert. If you put me just out there in a party, you would not see me talking to a lot of people. You would see me somewhere in some corner by myself, or if my wife is there, maybe the both of us will be talking to each other, even in a party. Or maybe if someone comes and talks to me, then I'm all out. But yeah, I would prefer to be secluded in my own space. And many people find it difficult to believe because they're like, no, but then you're like a public figure, so you're out there, right? So, you're talking to people. I've hosted events where I have 25,000 people in the audience in one of the weddings in India. I'm like, so how do you do that then? So see, I'm not a shy person when I'm in front of people or when I'm on mic, because I'm delivering a role. My job as an anchor is to bring that happiness, make that wedding happen, in a happy way. Talk about the bride and the groom. That gives me happiness. I'm happy doing that. And why should I shy about it? So what if 25,000 people are sitting in front of me? So there's no camera fright or the shyness. But if you ask me, what do you want to do? I would want to just, curl up on my, sofa and just chill and watch something on my TV. That's what I would like to do. So there's a difference. I think, the acting is common in between all the three. So as an MC, I am still acting a role, which I am in person not. Voice is also acting. So when I'm saying, देखा ठंडे दिमाग से सोचने का फायदा, AC भी ऐसे ही लेना. So that's a Hindi ad. If I'm saying that, there's acting in it. I'm being the voice of something which is talking in your brain. So the translation of that line is, see, this is the impact when you think with a cool mind.
Nice.
So, ठंडे दिमाग से सोचने का फायदा. When I'm saying that, you're thinking, ding, there's a bubble. See? So, that also is acting, right? So, I think it's all connected.
It's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you a hypothetical question.
Sure.
It's something I like to call the three truths.
Okay.
Okay? So let's say somebody who's really passionate or interested in joining the voiceover industry comes to you. It's like, Joe, based on your experience and based on your knowledge that you've accumulated throughout the years, what would be your three truths about the industry?
Well, the first truth is that there's so much of work out there, so much that I can't put a number to it. The magnitude is beyond what you can fathom. So that's the first truth. And the second truth is that if you think you have the passion for it, not just because you think, oh, it sounds cool. Oh, voice, oh, wow, I want to be on radio. Oh, I want to act. Oh, I would become famous. Now, that's not passion. When I say passion, it comes from a much deeper place in heart. It comes from within your fibers of your being. Passion is something where you can do it, be absolutely at the top of the world in happiness, even if you're not paid. You see? It's not that you're doing it for money, or even if nobody notices you, which was the case in the voiceover industry for a long time until now.
It is.
Until now, until Voices of Dubai happened. So even if nobody knows about you, but you feel so happy that you did that voice, that is passion. But if you're in, or if you're wanting a way in because you want to get that shortcut to fame,
That's not
that's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. So the second truth is be sure 100% this is your area of passion and you want to dedicate your life or part of your life to it. And the third truth is you need to learn. It's not a joke. You see, it is not something random. It's one of the highest paid professions which people don't know. And I'm not talking about just the voice acting. Even the voiceover industry is quite decently paid. Depends on each actor, each artist, how they position themselves in the market also. And what kind of projects they get called for, or what kind of projects they get to play. So it's not always, up to the agency or up to the broker or the artist manager. A huge part of what you get paid as income also lies with the artist, how you sell yourself. And I know this from my own experience. When I started anchoring and hosting in Dubai, in U.A.E, the very first time, I got paid a figure which was like literally not even 1,000 dirhams, it was like much lower than that, about between 500 or something like that. And which is almost nothing. I mean, if you look at it, because we're living a life and it's a certain expense to be paid. But from there to bringing that, adding another zero to it, or adding another certain figure substantially to it, took me 2 years. And then from there, bringing up to almost double of that, took me another 2 years. But if I wouldn't do it myself, nobody will do it for me.
And what were the steps that you undertook to increase your learning, increase your knowledge?
So to increase my knowledge and learning, first of all, I switched on a switch here in my brain and my heart, that always be on learning mode, absorbing whatever is happening. So if I'm listening to something, I'm listening to that recording or that watching the movie with a different mindset. I'm there to learn. I'm enjoying because that is my passion, right? So I'm enjoying that. So I'm absorbing like a sponge, taking in, and then seeing what it is. And now, since there's YouTube and since the content is available everywhere, it's actually content overload right now. So we need to know what to look at and where to look at. So I am searching for content that teaches me, where I can learn more about voiceover acting. What is the difference between a narration? What's the difference between a commercial voiceover, the punch, the throw? What are the elements of doing a voiceover? It's not just a good voice. It's not just, oh wow, his English is great. No, your English could be great. You could have a great voice, but you may have absolutely no career in voiceover industry if you don't know the techniques of doing it. So you need to learn that. One needs to master the art. So if you master the art, your craft becomes better. And then you're able to monetize it. Otherwise, you've got no right to ask for a certain amount of money just because you've been there in the industry as a mediocre artist for what, 10 years? It doesn't matter.
Or you just have a golden voice.
Or you have a golden voice, yeah. It doesn't matter. So like they say about acting now, you don't really need to have a beautiful face now to be an actor. Maybe, yeah, that was the case before because people were cast like that. But now it's more real. So the reality is you can have an absolutely average face, still be an actor. And you can also become a superstar, if that character that you played became famous. But you need to know how to act.
Based on your charisma, how you engage people.
Yes, and also your attitude. Your attitude is a major part of your personality. So if you have a very pathetic, I would say sad, negative attitude with that ego, with the self, thing, it'll take you nowhere. And that's what I've always seen with people, with a lot of artists, young ones and senior ones. That when I see that he or she is not doing all that great in life, in career today compared to others, I see maybe there was something wrong in them. Maybe there was something wrong in the choices that they made. So yeah, I think important to learn. Very, very. There's no substitute for it. So learning is important.
And you reminded me of something that one of my favorite speakers, somebody called Earl Nightingale.
Oh wow, Earl Nightingale.
You know him?
Yes, of course.
One of my favorite sayings by Earl Nightingale is, "A great attitude is not the result of success.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
Is the result of a great attitude."
I couldn't agree with it furthermore, because that is exactly what I believe. That's the principle of my life. I have always quoted this, always said this to people. I call myself a very humble person, and because I believe in humility as an attitude. It's the attitude of gratitude, but takes you a long way. And you will become successful if you have that attitude. It's not the other way around.
Love that.
That's very, very important.
Love that. What's your definition of a great voiceover actor?
It's basically a sum total of what I just said earlier. It's about the truths that you need to know that you're passionate about it. Not just a vague idea. It's not just a liking. You can't flirt with your art. You need to be committed to it.
So someone who's committed and passionate.
Committed, passionate. Of course, you need to have a good clarity in your speech. You need to have, when I say voice, and there's nothing called a good voice. It's very subjective. Any kind of voice can be apt for the role, depending on what the role is. So it's not necessary for the voices, the movie trailers to always have "in the beginning of time." You don't really have to do that. It could also be "in the beginning of time." So it doesn't matter. Maybe your voice is high pitched or low pitched, so it doesn't matter. So, but taking care of the voice is important because your vocal cords respond to it in a certain way. So these are the, and yes, and to be successful voiceover artists. You asked me about a good voiceover artist. So to become successful, when you have all these things, also learn a little bit about how to market yourself. Very, very important. If you don't, then you would remain as a very good voiceover artist who's good, but not successful. And I'm not saying success only comes from money, but I'm saying successful business-wise, because you can't run a charity. You need to earn to live. And if you are earning from your passion, where your passion becomes your profession, what can be more beautiful than that? You know, that would give you ultimate happiness, right? So
Absolutely.
learn how to monetize your passion.
Awesome. Joe, I want to really acknowledge you for being here, for sharing your
Pleasure.
knowledge, your experience, your challenges. And a big shout out to you, man. All the work you've been doing throughout the years, it's very inspiring. And to me, you're definitely one of the most successful voices of Dubai.
Thank you.
Where can we follow you? Where can viewers and listeners follow you?
Well, thanks to my wife, Kajal. She's created a very interesting online presence for me. And that journey started from her. Because as an artist, like I said, previous point, that learn how to monetize it. And to monetize it, you need to market yourself. And the marketability in today's world, with the technology coming in, with the internet and the rest of the things, and social media platforms, comes from where you're visible. And there's an old saying, if you're not seen, you are not there. You know, in Hindi we say, agar dikhte ho, to bikte ho. Dikhoge to bikoge. As in, you know, if you were seen, then people would go for you. So that happened from there. So when we had met first. So creating a social media profile which talks about your work, as well as a little bit about yourself. I'm not saying you need to post pictures of videos of you making your hair. You don't need to. If you're a voiceover artist, you can stick to the content that relates to your work. Put your behind the scenes. If you're an actor, put the shoots or whatever it is. Make it relevant so that people who are following you for that particular area of, you know, understanding that profession get to see and learn. So there's some value addition to that. Also, put something about yourself. I mean, you're having some good time. If you want to talk about that, if you want the world to know, okay, that you've got a dog or a cat, or, you know, you've got a family and you want to, you know, like you're going here and this place you liked, put that, no problem. But just don't put nonsense, you know. So keep it neat and clean, yet be real. So being real on social media is so difficult nowadays. People just want to put the best of theirs, you know, even if it is fake. So yeah, people can follow me.
On which channels?
So on Instagram it is Voice Guy Joe, and my website is joemohan.com. So that's easiest. So click on the website. There you have the Facebook link there. Everywhere the handle is Voice Guy Joe, so it's facebook.com, even Voice Guy Joe.
We'll have all these in the show notes for sure.
For sure, and connect with me to get to know what I'm doing, what I'm up to, what are the interesting projects that I'm a part of, that I'm blessed with, and a little bit about a sneak peek into what I do for fun when I go for, you know, various things here and there. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome.